Oh, let's do it live on a Victory Monday edition of the program presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka. I am merely Bo. He is the great Z. This is all you wanted.
Oh, baby.
All you wanted, brother. You wanted a little bit of hope. You wanted Jacoby to go out on a high note. You get
did.
that.
I sure did.
I didn't know if it was going to happen, and yet it did.
Neither
in thrilling
did I.
fashion.
You talk about this Cleveland Browns team, what we talked about all year, just not being able to do the little things, not being able to come up clutch in a big moment.
Yep.
Well, you got that last night from Jacoby Brissett. You got that from David Njoku with the one-handed catch, one of the best catches I can remember by a Cleveland Brown.
It was so the timing of it, all the factors.
Right, fourth
that
down,
were into
season on the line.
Season on the line. Because you look, it's an uphill road to hoe
of
at
course.
4-7. We know that. But there is no road.
But we were on the road, right?
There's no road the other way.
Road closed. You're gone.
It's done.
Yeah.
So this is a totally different tone, and if he doesn't haul that one in, that's where you're at, man.
And boy, did he. And then to think about the fact that Tom Brady had the ball 3 times, twice in overtime, once in the fourth quarter, with an opportunity to beat us, and the defense held. Your defense held to get you the ball back in the 2-minute, because remember, they threw a pass on second down, then Miles gets the sack, and for Miles to show up the way that he did was awesome, because I don't know if they had brought attention to it on the TV broadcast. There was a play before he had either one of his sacks. He's got one in overtime, one at the end of regulation. Mm-hmm. Both monster plays.
Huge.
Monster plays. Couldn't have been bigger. He had a rush, and he spun back, and Shaq Mason, the left guard, just absolutely annihilated him. He ran off with his shoulder, his injured left shoulder, hanging. And I thought he slammed his helmet, and I said, oh, my God, Miles is done.
Done, yeah.
And he comes back, and to get those 2 sacks like that was just incredible. It was your stars making plays. Njoku, franchise tag. Miles Garrett. Jacoby. I love the guy. And it sucks that he threw an interception at the end of the first half on a Hail Mary. It counts as an interception because he really didn't throw an interception, but it's his 5th straight game without an interception.
Yep.
Amari atoning for the 4th down drop, which was stunning in real time.
Right.
Just right in the breadbasket.
Right. Just
dropped
never
it.
see it. Yeah.
And then for him to run, sense that Davis was off balance and just run right through him and get wide open and make that play. And then Nick Chubb running it in at the end. It had everything you wanted, and it was just a reminder of what this team could be. And it wasn't even a perfect game by any stretch. How about the opening script again? Anthony Schwartz on a reverse was just.
I forgot he was on the team.
That was like that's Auburn Anthony Schwartz. That's why he got drafted in the 3rd round.
I haven't seen him in 6 months. I'm like, where is he? And then
there
he is. Oh, that's right.
Here, look at me.
Look at me,
Mr. Bishop.
Watch Jim go.
It was awesome. Awesome to be a part of. Great environment at the stadium. The fans were great. And it's nice to have that. And, there's a chance that the Browns will have beaten Tom Brady in his last trip to First Energy Stadium.
Yeah.
They beat him in his first ever start against the Browns, and then maybe they could beat him, now. They beat him in 2010, I'm sorry, and now hopefully, and then they beat him here in 2022. And it's a game that had gone the other way. There'd be so many little things to nitpick and complain about.
Yeah.
But that's the difference between winning and losing in a binary league. It is all about the outcome. Period.
Yeah, and you're right. And it's one of those ones where it felt like it was going to go the way so many of these were going to go.
Yeah.
Until it didn't. And it's one of those, I think it was critical. If we go back to this stretch of games, I understood at the time when I was saying it, I certainly get it even more so now because you look around the league and you know the records. But 4-7 gives you hope. It gives you a glimmer of hope. It's not a lot, but there's a hope out there with it that if you run the table and go 10-7, that you could be a playoff team. That's in play. 9-8 does not.
No.
And so you had to win one of them. And the fact that it was this one, that it was Brady, that it was home, that it was on a relatively good day. I mean, it was cloudy and stuff, but the temperature was great and a little bit of misty at the end.
A little wind, yeah.
But pretty manageable.
Yep.
All the way across the board. The fact that you won a game where he missed a field goal, like there's a skunk running around in the crowd. Like there's a lot going on yesterday.
We're undefeated with critters, with marmots.
I mean,
we had a skunk. We had a rally possum.
I'm going to tell you what. We got to get Swagger and a couple of his buddies to patrol that place. That'll take care of people driving on it, and then that'll also take care of skunks and pests.
Did you see the video of the skunk meandering around, eating some pretzels, peanuts, and then
having the time of his life,
and then going right up the stairs and just leaving?
Yeah.
Just like, okay, I've done it. Took in the game. Nice win.
It was
got some snacks.
The boldest skunk I've seen since Pepe Le Pew.
I feel like in many ways he took that game in like Bootsy would. Coming in, we watch a win. I'm going to have some snacks. You're going to hit me with some salty snacks.
Yeah.
And then I'm leaving.
That's it. That's exactly how it goes. Loves a snack just like Bootsy.
Yeah.
Very similar. Yeah. It was – the game had it all.
Bootsy smells better.
He does. Yeah. He's got a nice shampoo and conditioner combo he's working right now in his hair that gives up a great odor.
Fantastic.
No, this allows for it. It allows for you to go into this week with an entirely different tone. It allows for and by the way, this is not to say we know what we're going to get Sunday out of Deshaun Watson, because we don't. You have no idea. He hasn't played a game in 2 years.
Yep.
He looks good in practice, but like, who knows what'll happen? He has not played a real football game in 2 years, so that's going to be fascinating to see just what that looks like. But big picture, it allows for a totally different tone around the team, around this city, around this building, going into it, and that matters very, very bigly.
Hugely.
Hope is a hell of a powerful drug, my friend, and you have a little bit of it today.
I got to talk to a bunch of the players today that I've seen, some of the coaches today that I've seen. Yeah, it changes everything. You work so hard to win, and that's what the Browns did. And right, you are still on the hopeful highway. And it's wild. You're a field goal here, maybe an extra point there from being 5-1 at home, from being 6-5 on the season. But you're not. You're at 4-7.
Yeah.
But you've given yourself an opportunity to get to 5-7 next week. You got 3 division games left. If you could, but you got to win one at a time. But it gives you a little bit of juice, something to hang your hat on and to be excited about. And you hope that this is one of those games that is kind of a breakthrough, right?
Yeah.
Where we clutched up, we came through. Now we're going to have belief. We're going to, instead of it being like, oh, here it goes again. Now we got a little bit of belief in what we're able to accomplish. And I couldn't be happier for these guys. I got a chance yesterday, which meant a lot to me. I didn't mean much to him, but it meant a lot to me. I got to go up to Jacoby Brissett at his locker after the game. He was just sitting there by himself before the media all came over, and I just said, I am so happy for you.
Yeah,
you have been everything this organization needed. I wish you had the more success that you deserve, but to have this moment, to make that clutch throw, to then lead it down, to win this game, I'm like, it was awesome, and I'm so happy for you. And he was like, very appreciative, and he goes, man, that was so fun. And I was like, yes, it was. It was. Yeah, you're awesome. And I love Jacoby Brissett. He has quickly gone on to he would be on my all-time favorite Browns team for sure. And there's a lot of quarterbacks that I like, but I really, really, really like Jacoby Brissett and what he has brought to this team as a human being and not just a football player, so I couldn't have been happier for him.
We ended the show on Friday with kind of that sentiment, right? Like let's get one for him. Like, he deserves better than what the record is. He's been everything the doctor ordered and then some for this franchise through these 11 games, and there's no reason for he shouldn't have been 3-7 going into it, let alone 3-8. So give him a chance, give the home crowd a chance to let him know what he's meant to them and the effort that he's put on. And you're right, it hasn't just been on the field, it's been off it. It's just been he's been such a steadying influence. Has an incredible way of him. You understood it. I remember when we acquired him in the offseason, and you would talk to people who were around him in Indy. I remember talking to Anthony Walker about it others, and just the effusive praise you would get of Jacoby Brissett, and then to see it firsthand, you're like, oh, I get it. I understand. Like, there's a gravitational pull to him. There's a calming factor to him that's very real, and he's a pretty damn good football player.
Yes, he is. And he certainly deserves an opportunity to start somewhere in this league. I'd love to keep him with the Cleveland Browns in a backup role because we obviously know what he can do, but I think he deserves an opportunity to start again. You mentioned Anthony Walker. When in the Browns locker room, Jacoby Brissett and Anthony Walker's lockers are right next to each other. Yeah. So when I went over to Jacoby, the only other person sitting around at the time was Anthony Walker Jr., who still comes to all of these games, who cares so deeply about this team and is also a fine, fine human being. It was just, I got to tell you, the catch made by the Chief in that moment was so stunning.
Yeah. And
it was so awesome. And for Jacoby to be the one who had thrown it in there, it just was, I felt like that was, and I'm a prisoner of the moment right now.
Yeah.
But
it's all right.
Beating Tom Brady, knowing what I thought that game, we almost made it bigger, and Jacoby tried to downplay that. But it started Jim Donovan, the great Jim Donovan, who was unbelievable yesterday, by the way. Absolutely unbelievable. He brought that up at the end of the game against the Bills in Detroit. He goes, you know what? Jacoby Brissett deserves better. Let's win this game for Jacoby. Like, I want him to go out on a high note. And so maybe it felt like a little bit more. There was that emotion to it. But that was a special moment and a special game, and our defense showed up when it needed to. Our special teams, other than the missed field goal, which something wonky happened on the hold. I don't know what they talked about on TV, but I saw Cade York was gesturing to something about where the ball was.
I don't know if it was the it looked like his footing, like he kind of slipped as he went to kick it, like he lost his footing a little bit, and then also something with the hold. So, yeah, there was a lot wonky with it for sure.
Sure. But it was like overcome that. But special teams overall I thought was good. He had nice. Jerome Ford's got some juice in the return game.
Yes, he does.
DPJ had a nice day. Yes. Let's go. It just makes everybody in the office happier. Yeah. It's a great thing, and it was a wonderful, wonderful win. And again, David Njoku, that's why he was franchise tagged. Your guys are, and a quiet game, right? 5 catches, 29 yards. But the biggest catch of the season in the moment, and you don't know. It's later in the season, and you don't have as much room to change the current course you were on. But in some ways, it reminded me of the comeback win in Cincinnati in 2020, where we won, and that really kind of got us going. Yeah. And you hope that can get us going. Now, we had a margin for error. We were able to lose some games after that point in 2020. Not this year. But still, just awesome. And also, I don't even think I've said his name yet. MJ Emerson. You go toe-to-toe.
He's sensational.
You go toe-to-toe with Mike Evans, and you lock him down and frustrate him. Now, there's one where Evans got deep on him. Brady just overthrew it. But for the most part, in his hip pocket, Evans on the game, 2 catches, 31 yards, 9 targets. I know the 28-yarder that he caught had nothing to do with MJ Emerson. He wasn't even on that side of the field. Yep. So I locked up with MJ. I don't think he got
MJ subtweeted. Somebody said 2 catches, whatever, for Evans.
And MJ Emerson, not on me.
Not on me, actually. 0 for that. So no, he's sensational. And the fact that you do this, Denzel went down again. You had Newsome didn't play in the game. Like, all of these factors, and you're able to get a win was sweet. And it allows for a different narrative this week. It allows for a lot more fun to be had on this show, but all week long. And it allows for hope. And one other thing, I'm happy for you Browns fans out there.
Yes.
My God, am I happy for you. Like, you got to go to the old barn on a late November Sunday, pretty good day, watch the greatest of all time as the opposition, and get a deserved win in thrilling fashion. After having victory snagged out from under you several times, you deserve this one. Live it up, man. Enjoy it.
Yeah, you've gotten to see the Browns beat the Steelers on Thursday night. You got to see them beat the Bengals on Monday night, and you got to see them beat Tom Brady at home. The sad thing is we're a field goal away from beating the Chargers, and we know we should have beaten the Jets. We should be 5-1 at home. We're not. We're 4-7 on the season, but we've been a stout home team. Yeah. With the exception of the New England Patriots game. We've been pretty darn stout at First Energy Stadium. Unfortunately, this was the first game. And what I hope comes out of this, and I say that, you can build on this, is we clutched up. We've been talking about it all season. Yeah. Execution and then clutch meter. And we showed clutch meter in this game, I think, in a major way. Really the first time since week 1 when we clutched up on the last drive. Jacoby with some nice throws, DPJ with a nice catch, and then Cade York from 58. It's been a while since we had that kind of just – we got to get it done. Okay, Miles, make a play. Boom, play. MJ Emerson, make plays. Boom, plays made. Offensively, Jacoby, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Mike, Chief, Amari, Chubb, make plays. Boom. That's what it's supposed to be, man.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
That is. It was. It was awesome. And Deshaun Watson will be going to become reinstated officially at 4 o'clock today, according to league spokesman Brian McCarthy. He will practice with the team on Wednesday with the first team reps. We will play at his former team on Sunday. But today is about the win yesterday, 23-17 overtime victory over the Tampa Bay Bucks. With that win, Tito's Handmade Vodka proud to support the Cleveland Browns through the Tito's Victory Vodka program with a $1,000 donation to the Cleveland Animal Protective League, helping to foster compassion and end animal suffering. Thank you, Tito's. Remember to please enjoy Tito's Handmade Vodka responsibly. Sponsored by Tito's Handmade Vodka, 80-proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, 40% alcohol by volume, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, and crafted to be savored responsibly. So much more to come on this Victory Monday, including the Joe Thomas Hour, the program coming up at 2 o'clock. You'll hear from our guys. You'll hear from Coach Stefanski. It's all coming up next. We're off and running. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
from the 12, back to pass. Here's Brissett, looking, firing, end zone. Oh, what a catch by Njoku! Touchdown! What a catch by the Chief! A touchdown!
Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
If this season is saved by that win, it'll be that catch that's remembered only forever. I mean, it's that critical of a catch to all of this. And I was so happy for the Chief. The fact, I mean, just to think it wasn't that long ago that we were demanding trades and who know what was going to happen. And now he certainly is one of the pillars this organization is going to be built upon. And I was just, how hard he works and everything he's been through, and he's got such a good aura to him. To have him make that play was pretty special. He was with ESPN yesterday and was quick to reiterate, we're not done yet.
What does this do for your season? Obviously, you're still clinging to.
We're not done. That's what it is. We're not done. I don't know who's talking whatever about we're just going to roll over. That is dead. We're not done. Thank you.
Thanks, David. All right, back to you.
Yes. Let me tell you
Who's
something.
on the sideline there?
David Njoku.
Who is that?
That was Jeff Darlington.
Darlington asking
Darlington
him?
was, yeah. So Darlington, that was the first question. That was the last question.
One and done.
Nothing else to say. David Njoku stepped up last week as a leader.
Yeah,
when he stepped up in his press conference and he said, there's nobody going to feel sorry for us. We've got to go do work. We know it's hard, but this is on us. This is on us to make plays when it matters and to get it done, not on anybody else. This isn't about schemes. This isn't about anything. It's about us doing our jobs and executing. And then he went out there and made a catch like that. He has transformed. He's a guy. There are some guys around this league that you see that get paid, and they are not the same guys in a worse way. There are some, and they loaf, they take plays off, they're resting on their laurels. There are other guys who get paid and say, I want to prove why I got this money and why I should get more in the future. And that's David Njoku. He was on fire prior to the ankle injury. He's only been back for 2 games, but in this game, he comes back when you needed it. The Browns knew right there in that moment that typically they're going to play a middle-of-the-field open defense. So whether it's a cover 2 or a quarters down there in the red zone, they're going to get that. So what advantage do you have? It's a seam ball. We ran seams on both sides. Mm-hmm. He identified David Njoku had a step. I mean, by the way, there should have been a flag on that play. Devin White is holding his jersey.
For sure.
And he catches it. He goes up there and catches it anyway. But to make that play and then post-game, I love that. He is becoming a leader. He is becoming the guy that you paid to be your franchise tight end and be a cornerstone. And we've talked about it. Who are the leaders? Who's going to step up? David Njoku stepped up not only with his actions, with his words this week, and I love it.
Yeah, and we were, coming out of last week's loss, we were wondering who is going to be who's our follow us to freedom guys. We talked about that last week. Who's somebody who will say, let's go. And in order for you to be one of those guys, you also have to deliver. Like, you can talk big, but you also have to be somebody who you put it on the field. And the Chief put it on the field before the injury, and he put it on the field in the biggest way yesterday when you had to have it. You brought that up last week with his press conference. We didn't play that one live. We played it the next day. But his juice, just kind of his tone in that press conference, and then to have the game he had validated, certainly all of it.
Yes. It's awesome.
It was. And it was a long time coming for this defense because the defense had not been great in a minute, and the defense was really good yesterday. Go ahead.
To your point, Tom Brady, after they scored their touchdown in the third quarter, Tom Brady was 21 of 24 passing. Mm-hmm. 21 of 24. He would finish 29 of 43. From that point, he goes 8 of 19 against our defense. 8 of 19. On the day, Tom Brady, 1 of 7 on passes of more than 20 yards in the air, 4 of 9 on 10 to 19. So 5 for 16 on passes more than 10 yards in the air. Phenomenal job by our defense.
It does seem like he's lost his accuracy down the field.
It felt like it in that game.
Yeah.
Yes, he's had some big games this year, but
it feels like as he was trying to hit the deeper ball, his accuracy wasn't. I mean, he's 45. Like it's
interesting. You
by
think
the time
maybe
comes
he'd
with
start
all of us
underthrowing it.
No, but he's more airmailing. It's more accuracy, not arm strength. The arm strength seems fine.
Accuracy.
It seems more the accuracy that's slipping a little bit.
I'm happy to report that my accuracy in beer pong still elite.
Still got it
at 44.
Still got it.
He should be coming to NZ3 training facilities.
Boy, the kid's got to be feeling good about himself.
Oh, the kid had a week. handles it with class. With all
been there before, like nothing, no big deal.
Yeah, he was there in '97.
It's been a minute.
Chucky
though.
Wood. It's been a long time, but
Yeah.
this was. I mean, yes, he was pleased.
Have you checked on S?
We just focused on our fantasy team's success yesterday and Garrett Wilson. I don't know that he's ready to comment.
He's not ready.
I don't think he's
I don't
ready.
blame him. It's a lot. JOK was ready to talk. He had a ton of confidence, and this team did heading into overtime. Here's JOK.
Yeah, really confident. I mean, we had a good scheme. We had a good game plan. We give thanks to the coaches, and we at home. So we got that kind of home advantage. But we just trusted ourselves and trusted in our process and trusted in our plan, and everything came to fruition. So,
man, we're gonna hear from Jadeveon Clowney. I feel like we haven't heard from Jadeveon Clowney in forever, and he just. So he had a game, by the way.
Made some great plays
Huge.
behind the line of scrimmage, and obviously, working against Tristan Wirfs is tough. But JOK, I thought, made some impactful negative plays for our defense in this one.
By the way, did you see that Wirfs is only out like 3 weeks? I thought he was done for the year.
Oh, I thought I'm stunned to hear you say that.
Yeah, he's out 3 weeks.
I didn't know what it was, but by all accounts, it was serious.
Yeah. So here is Clowney, who had a game, talking about beating Brady and getting back in the win column.
Feel great. I feel great to be back in the winning column. It's been hard to get wins around here. For us to get a big win today against one of the, if not the GOAT of the game, it's pretty impressive. And I'm happy. Hope it's going to be a start to something new for us around here and just keep rolling over. We still got a shot still in the fight. So, like I said, we keep playing like we played today. We ain't quitting on each other. We just came and play at a high level.
And speaking of playing a high level, Myles Garrett certainly did. I think it's his certainly defining game of this season. The 2 sacks that he had. He was an absolute monster, played through a lot of pain. Here's Myles on that.
I almost thought I broke something initially, but in my head there is no tomorrow. There's just the next play, and that's all that's in my mind. I have to continue playing, regardless of how much pain I was feeling, pain I am feeling. And tomorrow isn't guaranteed, and I was just wanting really bad. I wanted bad for us.
Superhuman. I mean, Gibbe, you were up there. I saw it happen in real time. He spins, and Shaq Mason just crushed him, exposed on his shoulder because he was spinning back in and just hit him. And he he sprinted to the sideline with his arm down, slammed his helmet. The trainers are coming over there, and I really thought that was going to be it for Myles Garrett, certainly in this game. And I was thinking at that time, maybe for a while longer than that. And for him to come back and make the plays that he made, 2 minutes and 26 seconds on the clock, the Bucs with the ability to run the clock out and win the game. 3rd and 13, Brady sacked Tampa Bay 10 for 7-yard sack, split by Garrett and Clowney. Garrett got there first, and then you go into overtime, and there he is again, Myles Garrett with a huge sack on I believe it was their second possession. Yep, 3rd and 9 at the Tampa Bay 39. Sacked Myles Garrett. We get the ball back. We win. I mean, that's leading by production. That is leading by example, toughness, all of it. People sometimes, say what they want about Myles Garrett. He produced right there where you needed him the most, and he's the number 1 defensive player at Pro Football Focus this season, period, like the end of story. I think people sometimes get fixated on the sack numbers. It's hard to get sacks all the time, but he came up with 2 monstrous sacks in this game and played through a lot of pain and was incredible when we needed him.
Yeah, he was. Guy that gets held on virtually every play too.
It's outrageous.
Never
now.
gets a call.
It is. If you
Never
could do a study, if you want to break down film, hey league, what is defined as a hold?
Yeah,
because there were a couple times like he was flat out mugged and taken down.
Oh yeah.
He is treated.
He's treated like he's nobody.
Correct.
Or that he's like young Shaq, where it's just like it's not fair. He's too good. It's not fair. But I don't feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'd have to do a scientific analysis, but it doesn't feel like in my mind T.J. Watt gets held on every play and there are no flags.
To be fair, I don't watch it that way.
Me neither.
So I don't know. I don't know if it is. And it's also the other thing is like the Donald comparison. Donald's on the inside.
Yeah, totally.
So it's just a bull rush situation with him and quick movement and
He's
turns.
So fast, he makes guards miss him that are
right in front of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a different thing. But this one will most especially be remembered for, I think, Jacoby Brissett and kind of a culmination of his run. He had a great post game. We'll play both of them. It was obviously quite good. Here's Jacoby emotionally afterwards.
Well, I mean this in no disrespect, but in the words of Tom Brady, that was awesome. That was awesome.
And then followed up with being a favorite teammate in the locker room.
I don't take being in the locker room lightly. Being in the huddle, going to work with these guys, I don't take that lightly. I just try to go out there and be myself, put my best foot forward, work hard, be somebody that the players can lean on. That's better than the win.
He's consummate pro.
Yes.
So good.
Love him.
Yeah.
So happy
good.
for him.
Yep.
So good.
Thrilled,
Exactly.
Thrilled that he gets to go out that way with a win against a guy who he used to play with, and Tom Brady. It checked every single box. Hey, Browns fans, skip the chore of laundry. Enjoy Life Not Laundry. Tide Cleaners offering 30% off dry cleaning for the month of November. Just mention the promo code Browns. Visit the tidecleaners.com to find the closest location to you. Some exclusions may apply. This is a Victory Monday edition presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
2nd and goal. Tampa Bay was offside. They give the ball to Chubb. He's driving for the goal line. He's in! He's in! Touchdown, Nick Chubb, and the Browns are winners!
Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ES.
You're up.
Cleveland.
And the Bath Authority gives you that bathroom of your dreams. You transform your current bath into a custom bath for a spa-like situation. Let the Bath Authority make it a reality for you at a fraction of the cost of the competitors. They'll do it for you in about a day. The Bath Authority is our area's premier bath and shower remodeler. They're experts and factory-trained installers. You give them a call now, you get $500 off that next custom bath or shower remodel. The number is 216-220-8399 or go to thebathauthority.com. It's where affordability meets quality, the largest selection of bath projects that are all made in the United States. Change your bathroom from outdated to outstanding in about a day. Acrylic tubs that insulate and keep the heat in, tub-to-shower conversions. Superior products with expert installers at the Bath Authority at 216-220-8399. And you are listening to a Victory Monday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Now here's your coach, Kevin Stefanski, at the podium from earlier today.
Like I said, you guys,
you're down.
Yesterday, really proud of the guys and getting that team win. And I think there were moments there where offense had to come through, defense had to come through, special teams had to come through, and we did ultimately in the end. It was a great battle, which we knew it would be. I think that's a good football team. And so we knew it was going to take 60 minutes or more, in this case 70, but really proud of the guys. And then we're going to shift gears here and turn our gaze to Houston. But with that, I'll take any questions.
I'll transition to Deshaun since you guys are as well. How does that look over the next couple of days, Kevin? And then I guess just real quickly, how has he looked in practice the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, so as you know, Tom, we had Deshaun in the building for 3 weeks, but not out on the field with us, and then the last couple of weeks out on the field. So next step is obviously being out there, taking all the first team reps. He's been doing a nice job getting the defense ready with the scout team reps that he's gotten. So I think he's done a nice job with his time away, physically staying sharp, mentally staying sharp. So I think he'll be ready to roll.
With Anthony Schwartz, he also seemed to be connecting really well with Deshaun through practice. And with a player like him, he's talked about working on his confidence and all of that. So how important was that yesterday to have him have such a big role offensively and on special teams in continuing to develop him and prepare him for when Deshaun is back?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about Anthony, Cam, because I'm really proud of him. I thought he had a really nice game yesterday. He helped us win, scoring early there on the reverse. And then, like you mentioned, on special teams, he's doing a great job as our gunner, making some huge plays for us in a field position game where we needed those plays. We needed that yardage in that game. So Anthony played at a very high level. We have a ton of confidence in him, and I think he'll continue to help this team win.
Yesterday, Jacoby was saying how Saturday night he didn't love the wound up being the touchdown pass to David when you guys went through the game plan. What about that play? Did you like that we're able to convince Jacoby that was the right play at the right time?
Well, you don't want to call many plays the quarterback doesn't like. In fact, you throw a lot of plays off the game plan sheet if the quarterback doesn't like them. We had a look in practice on Friday on that play, a similar look, and we talked through where the ball could go and basically said, hey, it's Dave one-on-one with the Mike linebacker who will have his back turned to you. So we talked through that rep. We didn't get a live rep of throwing that. We've had it over the course of the spring and summer. I can't sit here and tell you that Jacoby threw that exact ball to Dave in that situation, but it was just something you work through as a staff with your players. You constantly are talking about the game plan and talking about why this plays in, what we're thinking, why we're thinking it. But there's been plenty of times where Jacoby hasn't felt comfortable with a play where we just take it off the call sheet.
Yeah, Kevin, speaking of play calling and quarterbacks, that relationship between the quarterback and the play caller is so vitally important, obviously. So just wondering, how are you going to get up to speed and get to know Deshaun as quickly as you need to get to know him so that you are calling things that he likes and that you have that give and take that you've developed over time with Jacoby?
Yeah, I think you're right, Mary Kay, that the relationship is important. It's to me, it's also important, the play caller to the quarterback room. It's really a group effort in there when you're talking about that. All the players talk about AVP and Drew, and it's a collective effort when it comes to play calling and the offensive staff, as you know, when you get to game day. But that quarterback room is where a lot of things get talked through and evaluated, and we end up kind of, navigating where we want to go with the game. So that's important. With Deshaun, again, we spent a lot of time together. So he was here all spring, all summer, has been back in the building. I met with him this morning. So we'll continue to do that. That's what you do during the week. You spend extra time with the quarterback in the quarterback room, and we'll just stick to our process.
Yeah, Kevin, you've talked about how you really like MJ Emerson's makeup for being such a young player. I don't think he allowed a catch yesterday, if my memory serves me correctly. And I guess I'm curious, what do you think his ceiling is?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you don't really want to put a ceiling on a young player. And I think he just, to me, is somebody that continues to get better. He works really hard at it with his coaches. And again, mentality wise, we talked about it yesterday. People go after rookie corners. They just do. So he doesn't shy away from it. He makes plays in the football. Obviously had the one penalty there, but I think that's the occupational hazard of playing corner. They're going to go after you. You're going to get beat every once in a while, but he keeps coming back and is resolute in that way.
And we've asked you a ton of questions about your special teams unit. Yesterday, they really came through for you, especially in the return game. Donovan Peoples-Jones averaged, I think, 15 yards a return. Jerome Ford continues to do a nice job returning kickoffs. Just give you an opportunity to talk about what a nice job they did and, the hope that they can keep that going forward.
Yeah, I thought our special teams were outstanding yesterday. And, we didn't on offense do enough with some of that field position. But it was a field position game. It was mentioned yesterday, it was body blows, and it was not a game that was going to be up and down the field. So all those extra return yardage, then you have to punt. It does turn into a field position game. So all of it mattered. Was really proud of Donovan, and he got north-south. He made people miss. And then it's nice to have him in those weather games. The wind's blowing, the rain's coming, and you have a ton of confidence in him. He's done it so often. And then Jerome, I think, I think he's a pretty good returner. I think hasn't done it a ton in his career. I know he didn't do it in his past, but he's shown that he's got vision, he's got speed, and he's definitely a threat for our team.
The run defense has been gashed here a couple of weeks, but after that 35-yard run, you guys really did a good job. So what was the key to that success?
Well, I think like we talked about all along, sometimes it's not real complicated. And I think we ran a lot of fronts and a lot of pressures and a lot of coverages that we've run in the past. And the guys just played with incredible effort, relentless in setting the edge, getting off blocks. And I think you saw a bunch of guys running to the football and tackling well. They did have that big run, which, good run by them. We didn't fit it perfect.
10.
That's going to happen. But after that one, I think the next one was the around they had to Julio. But guys fit their gaps, did their job, got their runner on the ground.
You're up.
Yeah, they really did. I thought for Joe Wood's defense, this was a hell of a job. And they had one against Cincinnati, and then to get one here where it was really needed. And so good job out of them and everybody involved. We talked a lot about Miles and Martin Emerson and so many of the other guys who shine in this one.
Yep.
Just to give you kind of an idea as we were, you start having the big picture conversation about where you are and this idea of hope. It's a glimmer. I'd be disingenuous to spin it as other than that, but there is a glimmer.
Yes.
We're in a very similar spot that the Raiders are. We both share those 4-7 records. They've won 2 in a row. I like our team a lot better in terms of what it is and the fact that we're getting one of the 3 or 4 best quarterbacks when he's right on the planet back on Sunday. But from just an AFC standpoint, Miami and Buffalo are atop the East. They're both 8-3. Baltimore and Cincinnati are both 7-4 atop the North. Tennessee is 7-4. Kansas City's 9-2. And then from there, it's the Jets at 7-4. New England is 6-5, and the Chargers are 6-5.
I know the problem is we lost to both New England.
All those tiebreakers.
Actually, all 3 of those teams.
Yeah, Jets, Pats, Chargers, tiebreakers across the board. So they would all have to get to the only would it then go to like a 3-way tie? If there's 3-way ties and there's
that matter and
machinations
sure.
that you got to worry about,
Sure.
it's a long uphill road, obviously, to do it.
Yeah.
And it will be a week by week basis, but you do have a glimmer of hope here that you could pull yourself back into this thing. I mean, let's be honest, the AFC is going to cannibalize itself over the course of the next 4 or 5 weeks. So all of those teams will start stacking some losses, at least one every time out. It was a big loss yesterday for Baltimore in Jacksonville.
Yes.
That was a big loss for them to lose there, and you saw certainly Lamar on social. Isn't it amazing to you that you're checking your Twitter mentions in your Lamar Jackson, you're subtweeting some fan?
Yeah.
It's a bad.
What did he actually say?
Well, I can't say it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll have to go. I'll have to search this out.
It's all out there. He deleted the tweet since.
Yeah, there's a lot. The league is looking into Lamar's little tweeting escapade.
I don't know why you're on it. What are you doing on, you quarterback an NFL team? You're looking at Twitter mentions?
If you just lost, Twitter's probably the last thing you probably
place.
need to be on.
Oh, my gosh, the last place you want to be. Yeah, so that's not great. The Chargers went for 2, otherwise they're 5-6. But they get it and get the win to go to 6-5. So that's where you are around the league. The Colts are 4-6-1, so they got the tie break on you with the tie. They play tonight against Pittsburgh.
It was a fun Sunday nighter. Sunday Night Football was worth staying up for last night.
Yeah, I watched a decent amount of that. My plan usually on Sunday nights is I watch the first half and then I watch the White Lotus and then I come back for the end. So that's usually because it times out well because that's usually the first half ends right around that time. So I on demand it. By the time I get through halftime, I'm about halfway through the third quarter. By the time I'm back,
I found it.
Oh, the tweet? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's findable. There's no question.
What's he doing?
I don't know.
Ridiculous.
They've
blown 4 double-digit leads in the fourth quarter.
They're
not all right there.
In the last 2 years, in the last 2 years, they have taken the lead into the fourth quarter 7 times and lost.
Jeez.
The only guess who's second, by the way? Us. We've done it. It's happened to us 6 times. It's happened to them 7 times.
I feel like they've all
in the last 2.
In the last 2 years.
Because the first
going
year
into the third quarter,
we were undefeated in 2020.
Yeah, going into the third quarter, we've had the lead 6 times and lost. They lead the league. They've had the lead 7 times and lost. Now, the only thing that I can think of between the two is they both us and them really like to run the football. And when you're chasing, if somebody gets a quick score and you have to throw a little bit, it doesn't work. But I can't think of anything beyond that would marry the two.
No. Weird. Yeah, that is.
And whatever is going on in Denver, I know we'll get to a lot of the around the league stuff tomorrow.
Come
but
on. Dude,
woo.
Mike Purcell is ready to brawl with him. He must just be insufferable.
I think it's probably gotten worse too.
And he's terrible
through the years.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to be insufferable and be good. It's another thing to be insufferable and be bad.
Yeah.
And it appears that he's the latter.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I don't know how.
Doubt.
I mean, you let the guy coach the rest of the way, but Mr. Hackett, I think, better be polishing up the resume a little bit.
Well, you can't fire the quarterback.
Nope.
So.
Well,
I mean, have you looked at the draft? Do you guys understand what's happened with the draft? With Denver, the Rams, who's the other one there was another one that just traded a ton.
Houston's getting whoever they want at quarterback. They're dreadful.
They are. They are picking one, but where's the draft? Why do I have it up here? The Rams now are 3-8.
Yep.
So Detroit has that pick.
The Packers.
The Packers pick. No, they have they don't have. They have the come on, where is it? Why can't I just get a draft list? That's all I want. A draft list.
You're asking for a lot.
I am.
It's demanding.
All I'm getting is last year. Come on,
you had 20...
ESPN, be better. I just want draft order this weekend because a lot has changed.
All right. Houston, Chicago.
Yep.
Rams, Denver. But the Rams are actually Detroit.
So
and it's
Denver,
Houston, Chicago, Detroit, Seattle.
Houston,
Chicago, Detroit, Seattle, Pittsburgh.
Detroit's already got some nice pieces.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Carolina, Yeah, Detroit could get an awesome just player, or they could go for it. Let me ask you this, and I am admittedly, I don't watch the Buckeyes like you watch the Buckeyes.
Sure.
And obviously this was not a great game for the Buckeyes.
No.
To be clear. I didn't come away from that game being like, oh my God, C.J. Stroud, I would have to have him on my team.
No, and I don't.
But I thought like a month ago that was the feeling.
That was the feeling that
one.
he would. I think the feeling is that he would. I think the problem is if you're going to take if you're Houston, you're going to take a quarterback. You're going to take him or Bryce Young, the kid at Alabama, who's shorter, maybe doesn't have quite the arm, but is a pretty electric player. Has had a really good year. I think the hard thing for whoever's picking here, like he's going to be a product. I mean, remember, like Kenny Pickett was a first-round pick. Like Zach Wilson went number 2 overall.
Of course he's going to be a first-round
he's going to be a high pick because people fall in love with quarterbacks and they need him in the most desperate way. Is he as worthy as Lawrence?
Well, that's
the bigger problem is no, nobody thought he was Lawrence.
Okay.
And nobody even thought he was Fields. Like he doesn't have the physical abilities of Fields. It was just this is not a great quarterback draft coming out of a not great quarterback draft, and he might be the best of the available lot.
Gotcha.
Is kind of the thinking behind it. The thing that's really tricky is if you can have patience, 2024 is going to be ridiculous because that's Caleb Williams, the kid at
That's
USC.
a USC kid. Okay,
who's
I was gonna
electric.
He's going to win the Heisman, isn't he?
Probably, yeah. He's leading it. I mean, I would think.
Is that the guy that painted his nails Saturday night?
He paints them he's done it for 2 years. He did it at Oklahoma.
He had an interesting little message.
Well, he does that. He did that when they played Texas when he was at OU. He did the same thing. But anyway, like he's in that class. There's this kid Drake May out of North Carolina, who's a redshirt freshman who is lights out. And having talked to people who's played against all 3 of those guys and prepared to play all 3 of those guys, that Williams is number 1 by a bullet, and then May, and then CJ. But it's just this isn't a great quarterback draft.
Who could that have been?
Well, you went to private school. So that's kind of the kind of the tricky thing there.
Okay.
Is like if you're Houston, do you force quarterback now, or do you say, hey, we're going to be bad again next year and then we'll deal with it? That's the tricky thing for them. And the Detroit will be in that position picking at 3. What do they do? Because they're going to have right now the Rams pick is 3rd overall. Detroit's picking 3 and 13. Philly is right now picking 7th because they have New Orleans pick. They're picking 7th.
And 7th and probably late, but getting 7th for them.
A team that good picking 7th overall though.
It's like adding Len Bias to the Celts.
Right.
R.I.P.
Yeah, exactly. Houston will pick. They're picking 1st, and right now our pick is 11. We would send them, and then Seattle's picking 4th overall.
If we win some games here down the stretch, if we get to let's say 9-8, or obviously awesome, we want 10-7, that'd be great. But if we can win some more games here, we really will move. That pick will drop significantly.
It won't take much.
No,
because there's a big gaggle of teams there around that same type of record. So that could be it. But the top of that draft, Detroit picking 3 and 13, and they got some nice pieces. Jameson Williams comes back for them. Houston's got a real opportunity, and then Seattle sitting there at 4. So if they want to go those teams want to go quarterback. Houston, Seattle, Detroit. If they want to, they're going to get their pick of the guys high.
And I wonder if you're the Rams. I know this is going to sound nuts. But if you're the Rams, you have to really assess that you are not in a position. Do you see if the Lions would take Stafford back for their 1?
I think you could flip him somewhere else. I don't know if they would do it. But
you drop Matt Stafford on that team all of a sudden?
Yeah.
He comes home.
It's not the worst thought. I mean, I hadn't thought of it that way, but it is kind of fun to think of him going back to Detroit with all that young talent. They'd feel like they're cooked.
The Rams are cooked.
Feels like McVay could retire or stop down.
Donald's going to retire. They're 100% cooked. So
everybody stayed a year too long.
Give Matt Stafford a chance to go play somewhere because I think he still can play.
Yeah.
And you move on. I think Denver would love to get their 1 back.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen there. No. Yeah, you could. I mean, you could see Stafford, and I could see, with Green Bay sitting there at 9, you could see Green Bay, they're contractually obligated to Rodgers for 1 more year, right? But I know he has a full no trade, but maybe there's a way out there.
Love looked all right.
Threw a nice ball. Like Christian Watson's coming.
6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I think doesn't he have like 10 catches and 6 touchdowns or something silly like that?
Yeah, it's not like he has great games. He just, when he catches it, he scores.
He's starting to get in the mix.
Yeah, that's just the way that it works. All right, hey, Browns fans. Cleveland Browns Daily broadcasting live from Buffalo Wild Wings in Avon Lake tomorrow 1 to 3. Browns alumni Greg Pruitt will be on site signing autographs for 1 hour during the remote from 1 to 2. Visit the Cleveland Browns Facebook page to learn more on that. The Hoff coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
The Browns right at Brady, and they got him. Myles Garrett got him. He got him by the right ankle and knocked him down back at the 35-yard line with 3:19 left to go and the clock running, and the Browns are going to get another crack with the ball.
Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Second hour here of a Victory Monday presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Be part of one of the most passionate fan bases in the NFL. Join the Brown season ticket member waitlist today. Best chance of securing tickets for all home games of future seasons. Don't miss out. Go to clevelandbrowns.com/tickets or call 440-891-5050 to reserve your spot today. And with that, we welcome on the Hoff.
The Hoff, pure joy.
Oh, thank you, gentlemen, for having me on this Victory Monday. It feels so good. It feels like it was too long since we had a good Victory Monday where we could just wallow in our own joy.
Yes, it has been too long. By the way, Bo, I'm not sure if the boys are aware of this or not, but an Ultimate Team, Madden Ultimate Team, this past weekend, they released the newest legends, and the highest-rated left tackle in the game was just given a card. The Hoff. 94 left tackle, highest left tackle the whole game. There are only like 6 94s in the game right now. It's like the Hoff, Darren Woodson, and Marcus Allen, and then they had a blitz promotion. Your boy Steve Smith's also a 94, so I got to get the Hoff and Steve Smith so they can team up and get Irv and run the band back together.
Irv.
Oh, man.
Irv's on such a
Did any of you guys see did you know what I was talking about when I texted you guys yesterday about Irv and spaghetti?
Yeah.
I was watching at the time.
You were watching?
Oh, yeah.
It's the best. Oh, yeah. Nate Burleson was not having it. He's like, whatever, spaghetti's my favorite meal. I'm going to eat it on Thanksgiving. And Nate Burleson was not having it. It was great.
I'm Team Irv.
Same.
Eat what you like.
Eat what you want. This bird's overrated. Speaking of the bird, Hoff, talk to me because I will say Miss K's mom, Jack K, made one heck of a bird. One of the best birds I've had, to be honest with you.
Oh.
So I'm curious to hear, though, because I'm trying to get them on that. I was floating the idea out. The sous vide turkey breasts, the smoked legs and wings. Talk to us. How did it come out?
Yeah, sous vide breast, as expected, 10 out of 10. Everyone said best turkey breast they've ever had, which, let's be honest, turkey breast is a decent meat, but it's nowhere in the upper echelons of proteins.
Sure.
It's Thanksgiving, so you do turkey. But the turkey breast was 10 out of 10 perfect. I smoked on my offset smoker wings, legs, and then I had another breast because I tried to buy wings and legs and they gave me a breast for free. So I did all those together. And it came out with a delicious flavor, but my only disappointment was I left the skin on, obviously the legs and the wings, but also the breast. And the skin got like a little tough. It wasn't like a melt in your mouth dissolving skin. And so if I had to do it all over again, I would do a little Texas crutch on all those items to try to kind of soften them up and then just finish it in the smoker, for maybe 30 extra minutes, or maybe try to sous vide and then smoke. But that just like tough skin on the outside was a little disappointing to me, but the flavor was still excellent.
What's a Texas crutch? I love the sound of this.
Yeah, so when you're doing a brisket, or you can do it with ribs, are the two probably most popular ways to do it. You wrap in butcher paper. So you do, like if you're doing ribs, you'll do like 2 or 3 hours unwrapped, and then you'll wrap them in butcher paper real tight, and you can put like butter or barbecue sauce or whatever, and you do like 90 minutes to 2 hours. And so basically it kind of like steams it and it breaks it apart, and then you finish it on the smoker for another hour, and then it kind of gets that crusty bark. And when you're doing brisket, you get to this period where it stalls at, I think it's like 165 or something, where the temperature doesn't rise at all. And so you can wrap it real tight, they call it the Texas crutch, to kind of get through that stall and to continue it to cooking. You like kind of tenderize it a little bit, and then you can finish it. But it's a good way to kind of like cheat and like kind of steam it a little bit.
I like it.
Kind of break up and tenderize the meat a little bit further, where you don't get that if you just leave it on the smoker the whole time.
I love that. So the turkey legs, like for example at Disney, which are smoked, the skin's off them. So do they smoke them? They take the skin off and then smoke them?
I think so. And that's the way a lot of people recommended doing the turkey breast. But I was like, I don't want to take the skin off. I love a good crusty turkey skin. And so I'm wondering if that's key. If you just smoke them the whole time, you got to take the skin off. But if you're going to smoke them with the skin on, you got to add like another method, either that, like I said,
crutch,
wrapping him in tinfoil, the Texas crutch, or maybe just adding the sous vide. So that's what's great about cooking and smoking is there's always a little tweak that you can add and get you excited about doing it again.
Lots to be excited about what you did there. Lots to be excited about what this team did on Sunday, Hoff. Talk to us a little bit about the notion of hope in a locker room, because 3-8 and 4-7 feel like a Grand Canyon of difference, and it's a long shot, certainly, but 4-7, you're not eliminated. You win out, you're 10-7. That feels like a playoff team. How big of a difference is that for the guys who go to war every day?
Yeah, hope and effort are synonymous. As one goes up, so does the other, especially you're talking down the home stretch of the season. Guys are playing for something meaningful at the end of the season, right? Everyone's always playing for pride, for the name on the back of their jersey, for, standing on the team or another team next season. But if you really want to get the entire team to buy into that team first mentality down the stretch, give the effort that you have to give to be able to make the playoffs, you got to have playoffs on the table.
Yep.
And I think getting to the point where Deshaun Watson now comes back, which gives you another mental boost, a little bump, thinking that, hey, I don't know, there's a couple tough games on the schedule, but we got to this point. We beat some good teams, including last week. We beat a good Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Now we've got even better play at quarterback. We're never out of it, right? Doesn't matter what the score is, because we have a lot more explosive play capability with Deshaun at quarterback. And I think that can lead to a mentality where all of a sudden now you're seeing the Browns play their best football down the stretch these last few games of the season, because they believe that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and hey, you never know what can happen. Let's win out, and then we got a great chance to possibly sneak into the playoffs and then do some damage once we get there.
We didn't carry the momentum from our most complete game of the year against the Bengals. Now, there was the bye week in between before we went down to Miami, but is there something about momentum when you clutch up, when you have an unbelievable play like the David Njoku touchdown catch, you stop Tom Brady in overtime twice, you get down the field with a big one to Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb punches in? When it's a dramatic win like that, can there be a carryover of momentum from that, saying we can do it when it matters in a year where in these close games we have not really done it when it mattered other than week one?
I definitely think there's carryover, because what you get is carryover into the preparation next week. And I think that's why we maybe didn't get it with the Bengals, because you have such a long layoff when you have a bye week. I think they get like 5 days off now or something. Back in my day, we had like 2 days off, and the coach tried to sell it like 4. He's like, you get a morning off? I'll give you the night off. That's 2 days. And then we get the next morning, and then next afternoon, and we'll come in and have a late team meeting. So that's like 4 days. But now they actually get like a long stretch, and I think you kind of lose some of that momentum. But with this rhythm where you're playing Sunday and Sunday, they're back at it today. They're reviewing the film. Tuesday, they're going to be there, for the most part, the whole team. And Wednesday, you're back on the practice field doing prep for next Sunday. And so I think the momentum from this game can carry over into a focus and an energy that you'll see in practice on Wednesday, which the game can't be won during the week, but it can be lost during the week if you don't have that focus and that energy in the preparation for Sunday. Because you'll always come out and have energy on Sunday, but if you didn't put in the work with that level of focus and dedication to the commitment of being a great professional during the week, it doesn't matter about the energy on Sunday if the preparation wasn't built as a foundation.
Hoff, this last week was tough, right? I mean, it was Miles spoke, and that was tough to hear. Chief spoke and spoke some truth. And the one thing that we had talked about is, like, who are the guys who are going to lead this team? And those two guys have very different approaches. They had very different approaches last week in their availabilities, but both were monsters on Sunday. Miles had, I think, the defining game of his season for sure to this point, and Chief had one of the great catches that you'll ever see when you think about what it meant on a 4th down in that moment. If you would, sir, just speak to those two guys, kind of their week, and then the games that they played on Sunday.
The most important thing to be a leader in that locker room is how you perform on game day. Words are great. Having the presence of being able to hold the attention of 52 other men in a locker room or in a meeting room, that's great. But it falls pretty flat, and it seems pretty hollow if you can't back it up on Sundays. And for those two guys to be able to say what they said and then go and back it up on Sunday in big moments. I feel like every game was a must-win game this season, but if there ever was a must-win so far, it was this one, because this kept your playoff hopes alive. And to be able to go out and do what we hadn't been able to do most of the season, and that was finish strong in the fourth quarter, by those two guys, I think that goes a long way to building credibility and leadership amongst your teammates. And as we kind of look through the rest of this season, and then, the next season, when we all assume that it's going to then quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, which the team and the expectations are going to look a lot different. To have those guys playing at their best to finish this season and being some of the leaders on their side of the football, I think is huge for this team as we have big expectations for next season.
Best catch you've seen in your time with the Cleveland Browns, given the moment, the magnitude, all of it?
I think so. It's always hard to discern the superlatives without getting an opportunity to have somebody rank them for me. The good researchers at Cleveland Browns Daily did not put together my top 10 highlights to watch and then decide which one was the best one. But with my little brain, I got to think it's up there, right? To be able to make a big catch in the back of the end zone, jumping up one-handed with basically the season on the line.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't remember a better one. Maybe you guys can. I'm trying to rack my brain for one that's comparable, but I can't even come up with a comparable one.
I mean, Jarvis, there's some great ones that have happened, but I can't think when all of it is factored in. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
it's a season saver for sure.
And that's how the one in Cincinnati in 2020 felt. That's the one comparison I made to it when Baker hit Donovan Peoples-Jones. But that was a game winner. You knew it was over there. And that kind of got that season going.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be some we're forgetting.
Yeah.
Braylon had that incredible season. I'm sure that there's something we're forgetting there. But all things considered, it was certainly right there. Gibby wants to know, he wants us all to be honest, would you have gone for 2 at the end of regulation, Hoff?
So whenever I'm kind of thinking, from a coach's mindset perspective of, do you go for 2 at the end or do you kick the extra point? I'm thinking a lot about where we are momentum-wise in the game. Like, how tired is their defense, where I feel like I've got a good 2-point conversion play and this defense is on their heels. Or I also want to consider, do I feel like I'm the underdog and I'm fortunate to have this opportunity to basically get a coin flip and win the game? Because that's kind of what a 2-point conversion is. It's about roughly a coin flip, whether you make it or not. And if you feel like you're pretty fortunate to sit there and have a chance to win on one play, then you go and you take the 2-point conversion attempt. But I thought that in that moment, it actually was a pretty good decision because it felt like the momentum was on our side. The way we were playing, we kind of had the Buccaneers defense on their heels. They were starting to get a little banged up. I think Nick Chubb was starting to wear on them. And you just felt like if you took him into overtime, you would have a chance to win that. Now, I think the wild card, of course, is Tom Brady's on the other side. Now, it wasn't his best game of his career, but he's still Tom Brady. And you get really nervous about the way our defense has played all season long. Do we, potentially you lose the coin flip and you have to kick off, and now Brady goes down the field and scores. You're going to be kicking yourself for not having a chance to win the game in that moment when you had an opportunity to go for 2. So with all that nonsense being said, I probably would have gone for it now that I've talked myself out of it with Brady on the other sideline. I don't want to give him a chance to have the ball back.
I would have. I would have gone for it.
All right, here I'll tell you why no. I think we're forgetting that there were 37 seconds when we scored. 32 seconds when we scored. And they had all 3 timeouts. Even if you got that 2, if they got a field goal,
so it's not over,
you would have lost.
True.
And they would have been significantly more aggressive in the pursuit of that field goal. On first down, he checked it down to Rachaad White for 1 yard. And they let 17 seconds run off the clock. They were not in a hurry. If Denzel didn't get that pass to Julio Jones over his head, they're not even thinking about throwing. I think they were happy to go in right to overtime. If we had gone for 2, gotten it, they're going to be real aggressive to get a field goal there. And it's not like it was over. If it was the last play of the game, I would tend to be more inclined to say, there's no time on the clock, we're winning it right here or we're not. Yeah. I would be more inclined to go for 2, but going for 2 did not guarantee us a win. It could have guaranteed us a loss, and it did not guarantee us a win.
The other thing that factored into my head why I would have gone for 2 is I had just seen us miss an extra point or a field goal from relatively short distance, and that had not been a strength of us going into this season. So I was nervous as we lined up for the damn extra point, to be quite honest. I was terrified that we were going to miss.
Panic.
I was terrified we were going to miss the extra point. And at the end of the game, I'm sitting around, my father-in-law's yelling, "Kick the field goal." I'm like, "No, Nick Chubb, 3 times, Nick Chubb. Keep giving it to Nick." That's all I wanted to see.
So I had 2 schools of thought at the end of the game. School of thought 1, let's just run it in with Nick Chubb. But now you've taken center quarterback exchange into the mix.
Yeah.
Right? You have taken him getting hit, something just
Jacoby
tripping going away from the line. There's a lot of times where the ball could hit the ground. They're going to be absolutely trying to rip the ball out. So that made me nervous. I thought maybe we were going to run it down when we let the clock run for a little bit, but then we took a timeout with like 20 seconds left, I want to say, in overtime. I thought what we were going to do at the time was let it run down to call it 10 seconds, line up for the field goal. If you have a perfect operation, you kick the field goal. If anything wonky happens, you take it, you kneel, you have another timeout left, and then you can try it again. So you basically get 2 shots at a perfect operation to kick the field goal. But I liked it because we took the timeout at 24. We could have run it down to about 10 and then still had a timeout left. But I love that we ran it in. Even better. Fantastic.
Yeah. It all worked. Thank God it all worked. So there's nothing to worry about. Last thing we got to get to out of the gates here, Hoff. All right. I have had to deal with growing up where I did, and even here, I have dealt with the skunk many a time. I've seen these skunks. You've had the skunks. Oh yeah, you had one too. I know you have them in Wisconsin. In your life, have you seen a skunk around that many people just casually motor around, eat snacks, not spray, and then just walk out of the building?
Unreal.
It's funny that happened this weekend because we were out at the farm for Thanksgiving this past weekend with my wife's family, and my second daughter, Cameron, came running inside and goes, "Dad, there's a skunk outside. Can we go get the gun and shoot it?" And I was like, no. Like, that's the last thing you want to do with a skunk. It doesn't matter almost where you hit it. It is going to stink up a area the size of a city block.
That's right.
And to your point, Bo, skunks are not very friendly. And not only are they not friendly, but they don't even like being around people. So you very rarely see them around houses and barns. Like, you'll see them way out in the pasture or something like that. But it's not like these things like being around other animals or other people. And so to find like some victory skunk in First Energy Stadium that just casually strolls around and visits and shakes hands with fans was made me think there was something else going on here. There's got to be like a skunk conspiracy, that this is like some trained pet skunk that we need to find out some more information about.
I'm not opposed to thinking that that's the truth, because I've never seen anything like it.
Like it was a show skunk.
Like it was a show skunk. That somebody brought that thing in there, because there's just I've seen my fair share, man. That is not its normal skunk behavior.
No, they go nuts, and they would have sprayed everybody.
They spray everybody. I mean, if you even make noise, like they don't want a part of it, like they're skittish.
This guy was not.
This guy was so emboldened.
Socialized.
Yeah, very.
And then I think he left and ran out to he knew his way home. Maybe he was like a skunk dog.
I don't know. He could have gone out to a nice seafood dinner. I have no clue.
It was like Pepe Le Pew.
That was my guy, yeah. I like it. I don't know. I've never seen a skunk behave like that. OBM, the official printer partner of your Cleveland Browns. While you depend on your Browns to win, you can always depend on OBM. They'll tackle any size office. We have game balls on Victory Monday coming up, and we will go around the league and talk about the reinstatement of Deshaun Watson as well, which is coming up here in about an hour and 40 minutes. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
The snap, he's back, settles, looks, throws, he's got Cooper wide open, he caught it, 20, 15, 10, 5, 3-yard line, it's first and goal, it's first and goal at the 3-yard line, Amari Cooper!
Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ES in Cleveland.
And this Victory Monday edition is presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Rumpke Waste Recycling is family-owned and operated. Whether you join them as a customer or as an employee, you'll become part of the family. Visit rumpke.com to learn more. The Joe Thomas Hour of the program continues. The Hoff joining us. Time for some game balls from each of us. We have an order. Gibby has an order of these things now, so we'll start with offense. And the Hoff, you go first, sir. Who gets your game ball?
Well, thank you for allowing me the honor to gift the game ball to the most deserving member on the team, and that's not Nick Chubb, even though he was fantastic. It was Jacoby Brissett because emotionally, I think me, you guys, Browns fans, we've become very attached to Jacoby Brissett as a quarterback of our Cleveland Browns, but also as a person. The way he's conducted himself with professionalism, the way he's exceeded expectations, the way he's handled his role as a backup for when Deshaun Watson comes back. I don't think he could have done a better job. I don't think anybody could have done a better job. And I think watching him get a win against his mentor, against Tom Brady in his last game as the starter before Deshaun comes back next week, I got a little emotional. And
Me too.
Obviously the way the game ended probably had a little bit of something to do with it, but I think there's a deep connection that I've felt that Jacoby has built with the fans in Cleveland, and to see him get that win and then get the game ball, the most heralded award that one can possibly get in the NFL is the CBD offensive
That's
game
right.
ball, and it gives me great pride to be able to give him that honor because he's deserving more than any words that I can say.
It was so cool, and I shared this earlier. I got to talk to Jacoby at his locker afterwards. He's just such a great guy. I got emotionally when I was talking to him because I know how much it meant to him, and he's just awesome. And so now to the cherry on top, the game ball from the Hoff. I mean, what a treat there. I'll give it to the Chief. That catch was insane. It was sublime. It was as good as you're going to see, given the moment, the pressure, everything about it. His words earlier in the week, that leading up to that, about we got to execute, we got to come through, we got to do it, it's on us. And then for him to go do that, I thought was awesome. Bravo, David Njoku.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are the three, and then the other would be Nick Chubb. So I go last, and I go Nick Chubb there. He was sensational. I was thrilled to see him get to score it and put the damn thing away. Workhorse effort out of him, 26 carries for Nick, the long one of 28, the touchdown that's the game winner to clinch it. He was sensational, and everything that we thought this was how this would look, right? I mean, honestly, guys, if you look at that, more attempts than you normally would expect out of Jacoby when we drew this whole thing up. But 34 carries, 189 rushing it as a team.
Yep.
That seemed about where we would be. 210 through the air. That seemed about where we'd want to be. And if we did that, we'd win a lot of games. Sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't because of other factors. But Nick Chubb is he's the man. He's good. I'm damn glad he's our guy.
Guys, people are all obsessed with the stat that, Browns have not lost a game in which Nick Chubb has received 20 carries. The real one is we're undefeated all time because, Nick, we have lost a game in Nick Chubb's career where he's had 20 carries. We've never lost a game where Anthony Schwartz takes a carry. So
that's really the only one that matters.
I don't know.
Nice work.
Just saying.
I'm just saying. All right, defensive game ball. Z, you get the honors on this one.
I'm going to give it to my guy. I'm wearing the DB hoodie today. I'm going to give it to my guy, MJ Emerson. Locked up on Mike Evans.
Unreal.
6 targets to Mike Evans, one-on-one with MJ Emerson. 0 catches. A phenomenal performance by him. And, there was talk, should we put, Denzel Ward on Mike Evans? Nay. Jeff Howard, Brand Lynch, they said nay.
Yeah.
Did you watch what this guy did to Mike Williams earlier in the season?
No, the kid's a gamer, man.
Let's put him on Mike Evans. How you like that? And, yeah, there was one where Evans got the best of him and Brady could have dropped it in the bucket. Didn't. But for the most part, he was everywhere. I love that he's not afraid to tackle. He competes. MJ Emerson has been just such a breath of fresh air. Game ball.
Yeah, game ball for him. I'll go to 95 on this one. That's the kind of the no-brainer one. And sometimes the obvious is rewarded because it's as it should be. Miles had two of the more important sacks of his career in that game. The one in the fourth and the one in overtime, just absolutely critical in both cases. You don't win, I don't think, without either one of them, and he got both of them, especially after the week. It was a tough week for everybody around here last week, and so for him to ball out and show out like that, especially coming off of getting banged up, I loved it. Hoff.
I'm going to go with Clowney. He had 4 tackles in the game. He added a half a sack on that Myles Garrett sack where Tom Brady was trying to step up and kind of forced Tom Brady to step up in the pocket. Jadeveon was right there, had beaten the right tackle Tristan Wirfs to the inside, and so they kind of sandwiched Brady back there in the pocket on a big third down. And he had a TFL. I thought he was instrumental in the run game, not allowing Tampa to get too much going there, which is really, that's the reason he's here. And I think throughout his career, he's been an excellent run defender. He's one of the best at disrupting plays, getting into the backfield. He's not always been a big sack guy, but his presence is always felt in the run defense. And so having him out there, I think was big for our run defense to try to get back on track as we're trying to finish this season and give ourselves an opportunity to make the playoffs. We've got to be able to stop the run. And I thought he was a big part of making some progress in the game yesterday.
All right, one wild card game ball. I go first on this one. I'm going Mother Nature. Wind wasn't too bad. Rain wasn't too bad. Misty at the end. And the reason I'm giving her the game ball is because the fans got to have another good one.
Yes.
And so that was sweet. So Jacoby got to go out on top in terms of his run. The fans got to see a good one, and the weather was not an issue. You thought maybe it would be. It didn't end up being. Good job out of you, Mother Nature. Hoff, who gets your wild card game ball?
Yeah, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Starting to do some good things on special teams in the punt return. He had 5 chances for 75 yards, including a long one of 29, which was in a big moment in the game. A couple catches, but he just continues to kind of be that reliable guy that makes everybody better on special teams, makes everybody better on offense, just kind of finding that role. And it'll be fun because of his ability to make contested catches to kind of see what he looks like when Deshaun Watson's back there, making plays outside the pocket, getting off script, throwing some 50-50 balls up, letting Donovan Peoples-Jones go get it. I think he's got an opportunity now with Deshaun coming out there next week to kind of take his game to that next level.
Yeah, I'm bummed for DPJ. Had he gotten 50 yards in this game, he would have set a new Browns franchise record, 8 straight games with 50 yards, and said he'll settle for a tie at 7 with Josh Gordon in 2013 when he led the NFL in receiving, playing alongside the Huff. You talk DPJ. Jerome Ford gets a little consideration at another 40-plus yard kickoff return, so he's had 2 returns this year, longer than any we've had. It feels like in a long, long time since Dontrell Hilliard had a 70-yard return a few years ago. But I'm going to go with JOK. JOK was challenged by his coaches to be assignment sound, and if he wasn't, he was not going to play a lot of snaps. Well, he played just about every snap for the Browns on defense in this one. He played 66 out of the 69 snaps. He was our highest-graded player at Pro Football Focus. He led the team in tackles, had a tackle for loss, and he was excellent in coverage as well. He was right there getting PBUs, being right around the ball every time he needed to be. I thought JOK had one of his best games, and that's really 2 out of the last 3 because he was great against Baltimore as well. Before getting injured and missing a couple, and to see him have another great game like that was very encouraging.
Elk & Elk Serious Lawyers, Serious Injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk & Elk's a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Mr. Zagura?
Real quickly, can I just cheat again? And because he's been so maligned, the much maligned, oft maligned Joe Woods.
Sure.
Pretty darn good game plan. Yelled Tom Brady completely in check. He goes 8 of his last 19 in the game when it mattered the most, and the Browns defense stepped up. And you heard a lot of the players say, schematically, we were absolutely prepared and put in great spots for this one.
All right, good stuff there. Good stuff coming this week. Deshaun Watson will play on Sunday. He will practice on Wednesday, and away we go. Go around the AFC North as well. That's all coming up next on this Victory Monday edition, presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
A little high, then they give it off to Hunt. He reverses it to Schwartz. He's wide open. 25, 20 with Brissett blocking. 10, 5, touchdown, Anthony Schwartz. What a play! It went from Brissett to Hunt to Schwartz, and Brissett became the lead blocker.
Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ES.
You're up.
Cleveland.
And Bo here for my friends at Renew Home Exteriors. Upgrade the look and value of your home with new siding for Renew Home Exteriors, ranging in every architectural style in over 50 colors. Save thousands this month during the Renew Home Exteriors end-of-year siding sale. 24 months, no interest, and no payments. Take advantage of end-of-the-year deals before January 1 price hikes kick in. Beautify your home with premium siding and roofing products at lower prices with Renew Home Exteriors. Visit RenewEstimate.com for more. As we continue on a Victory Monday, the Joe Thomas hour of the program. Deshaun Watson expected to be officially cleared here in an hour and 20 minutes and reinstated back to the NFL. He will begin practicing on Wednesday. Obviously, Joe, there is no template for this. We've had to deal with certain stuff with Josh Gordon in the past, and maybe that's most similar. When you think of how this is going to be integrated, he's been practicing for about a month. How do you think this goes?
Well, honestly, I think it's going to be a pretty smooth process, because if you guys remember when I was there in training camp and we were going with the goofy back and forth about how long Deshaun was going to get suspended and was he going to play in the preseason and what was he going to practice, Stefanski did a pretty nice job of kind of keeping things seemingly normal when you were around the team, when you were at practice, when they were at meetings. And he did a really good job of not allowing that to distract the team from what they were trying to get done. And I expect the same thing in this situation. I think they'll probably announce, hey, Deshaun Watson's back. He's our starting quarterback this week. Now let's go to business and start focusing on what we're going to control, which is the preparation for the game on Sunday. And I think one thing that's really powerful is if you think about the brain, right? You think about kids. If you get them something to focus on and you give them a task, like they're really good at sitting down and working on something, or, doing the details that are necessary to be able to complete a task. But if you don't give the brain anything to think about, it'll find something to think about. And that's when, idle hands do the devil's work. And, if you don't give the players a lot on their plate to focus on during the week of practice, then they might get distracted by the change at quarterback and all the drama that's going to surround Deshaun going back to Houston. But I think with Stefanski, he's going to give them more than they can handle with game plan work and preparation and film study. And then I think everybody knows that Deshaun is a different level of quarterback than Jacoby. That's why you brought him here.
Right.
And now all of a sudden you're in every game no matter what the score is. It's almost like when, I talked with Mitchell Schwartz about playing with the Chiefs, and he's like, we didn't really look at the scoreboard. We didn't really care, because when you got a quarterback that can score 14 or 21 points in 3 quick possessions, like, you don't care if you're losing a game. It doesn't always have to be the long, hard way with him at quarterback. So I think that added excitement about knowing how explosive the offense can be. I'm not saying they're going to be there right away, but the potential is there. I think everybody's going to be really buttoned up and focused on doing their part during this week of preparation to make sure that they are ready to be at their best on Sunday.
Is there any advantage at all to the fact that we are now in week 13 going to run a different offense in many ways than what we've run all year?
Yes, a little bit. I think the benefit is similar to if you fire your offensive coordinator or you have an interim coach take over in the middle of the season. Like, now everybody's kind of wondering what your tendencies are going to be. What are you going to feature? What route concepts are you going to run out of certain formations? And so basically all the scouting work that they've done up until this point on tendencies and all the things that you usually use from a statistics and probability standpoint to build your defensive scheme for that week, it kind of goes out the window. So you have the element of surprise against your defense that you're going to be going against. Now, obviously, they know the concepts are going to be similar, and they're going to kind of maybe look back at some of the things Deshaun did well when he was with Houston and some of the things that Stefanski was trying to do with him and trying to extrapolate on what a game plan could look like. But they'd just be guessing. Whereas we know what we're going to do. They're trying to guess to figure out what the best defenses are to be able to handle what we're going to throw at them with Watson.
It's going to be the damnedest thing.
It's going to be wild.
He hasn't played in 2 years. almost 2 calendar years since he's played a game. The last we saw him, Joe and Z, I'm sure you would agree, he was a top 4 or 5 quarterback in the league. He's an ultimate weapon. This type of offense, I'm trying to think like how many times, like Kaepernick that one year in San Francisco, they kind of ran some of this type of stuff with Greg Roman a little bit, but you typically don't have a quarterback this athletic and with this type of arm strength and accuracy in this type of offense. It's why Kyle traded for Lance, is because he was trying to find this in Watson. So I have no idea what to expect Sunday.
I think it's going to be electric, and I think we're going to have a lot of explosive play. I think we're going to operate a lot more out of 11 personnel, which is 3 wide receivers, to take advantage of Deshaun Watson. We're going to spread people out. I think you're going to see Nick Chubb running against much lighter boxes than he's accustomed to running against, and I think we have an opportunity to be even more dynamic as a running team and obviously more dynamic as a passing team. I think you're going to see some options, RPOs, much more of an RPO game than we currently run. So I think there's a lot of stuff that we have not shown that we will be able to come out and show. And I think it's fortunate, Hoff, and I don't know if you agree with me, you can't take any team lightly in the NFL, but you're getting a Houston Texans team right now that is the worst team in the NFL. And so even if it takes him, a quarter or two to get going, we still should be in a very good spot in this game.
Yeah, you hate to say it's a good opponent to start against. Obviously, there's the drama being that he came from Houston, but they're a team that's looking for a reason to give up. When the ball is kicked off, there's probably going to be about 53 dudes wearing Texans helmets that are looking for a reason to mail it in the rest of the game, because it's just not a very good team. They held them together pretty good at the beginning of the season. I mean, they had some close losses if you look at their schedule, but it's gotten worse in the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks really. And if Deshaun goes down the field and scores, like, there's going to be a lot of sad faces on the sideline looking for places to hide. And I think it's interesting we talk about, what is this offense going to look like? Deshaun Watson's one of the few quarterbacks in the NFL that if you had to do like some type of weird musical chairs game with all the offensive playbooks and you just made every quarterback in the NFL keep walking around the circle until they landed on a playbook when the music stopped, Deshaun could run any of them. He just has no limitations in his game because he can throw the ball from the pocket accurately, down the field, intermediate, short passes. He could run a West Coast offense that's just dink and dunk. And he can run the Shanahan-type offense, like you mentioned. That's why they gave up all those resources for Trey Lance, is because to be able to get outside the pocket, throw on the run, but also attack teams with your legs, with some of the RPO stuff, some of the zone read stuff, some of the bootleg, naked stuff. Like, he can do it all. And so the Browns really can. I mean, it's got to be a fun feeling for an offense coordinator to just be able to do whatever you want. Now, obviously, I think a big consideration is, okay, what is the skill set around him able to do best?
Sure, right.
So I think that'll be a big consideration. And when defensive coordinators are looking at, what are we going to try to do to stop this team? What is the defenses we're going to put in this week and install? They're probably going to look at as much what Amari Cooper does well and Donovan Peoples-Jones and the Chief and our running game and how those things fit together, because there's nothing that Deshaun can't do well.
No, and that's what's exciting. I mean, that's why this, I think, is going to be a lot of fun.
It also, that's the other part of it is just not knowing. It's just been a long time since he's played and had live bullets. I mean, it's one thing to practice. He had the drive in the preseason, two drives.
Yeah.
So it's been nothing compared to what he's going to get on Sunday. So it's just going to be wild, and I think we're all just anxious to see it, and we'll be anxious to talk about it next week with Hoff. I can tell you, Hoff, in the over-unders, you are in a tie with Z. You beat him by a game this week. Gibbe is now just 2 games behind. Gibbe is lurking.
Man, pressure's on here.
It really is. So we'll get those for you this week. Great stuff as always, Hoff. We'll talk to you again next week.
My pleasure, guys. Looking forward to talking to you guys. It's my birthday next Sunday, so we'll be celebrating Christmas early, unwrapping the Deshaun Watson playbook present, and then we could celebrate my birthday maybe a day late on Monday for Victory Monday.
I was going to say, wait a second, that's in my calendar, and I was like, it is not. When you said the way you said it like that, I was going to fall out of my chair.
Calendars let you down.
I was like, no way, no. We've got an alert on this thing.
Next
no
week,
way.
guys.
Yeah. All right, Hoff.
December the 4th.
Happy early birthday,
All right, we'll
Hoff.
see you guys.
Nothing
Let's
quite.
go.
Nothing quite like tailgating touchdowns and Twisted Tea. Tastes just like real iced tea. You know why? Because it's made with real brewed tea, cool, refreshing, and a 5% kick of alcohol. It's Thirst Down on Gold. Twisted Tea, hard iced tea. Keep it twisted. We have a scores tonight with Gibby's. It's the first time I've ever seen Steelers and not Squealers or Pitts Puke in the rundown. I've never seen their actual name.
It's because Connor did it.
Oh, see? There you go.
That's
there you
why.
go. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily.
He does everything now. He does
He's
going to the remotes.
Yeah.
You don't. He does it all.
You're listening
meetings.
You listen to Cleveland
No, you
Browns
don't.
Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Daily broadcasting live for Buffalo Wild Wings. Avon Lake tomorrow from 1 to 3. Browns alumni Greg Pruitt will be on site signing autographs for 1 hour during the remote from 1 to 2. Visit Cleveland Browns Facebook page to learn more. We have a little Monday Nighter tonight.
Yeah, sure. I bet this is one of those games that Joe Buck goes, I left the Fox A game of the week for this
guy.
Yeah?
He did get to have Thanksgiving with his family, though, right?
He
for the
did.
first time in 25 years.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
It is the Squealers visiting Indianapolis, the 4-6-1 Colts. Everybody thinks they're back. They came back to earth a little bit after Jeff Saturday's second game. An interesting one tonight to see if the Colts are indeed a contender or a pretender. Bishop, what say you?
I like the Colts at home
1 minute.
by a field goal, and that's all I need. So I think it's an ugly game. 20-17, something like that. I think Indy wins at home by a field goal.
Same. Yeah, I don't have a great feel for this one. I could have gone either way. They win by 1, they win by 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not going to be watching it.
No.
Is there a Manning cast? If there's a Manning cast, I'll watch that.
There probably is with Indy. I bet there is.
God, they haven't been on.
And Jeff Saturday? I bet there is. I bet there's a Manning cast tonight. That would make
30.
sense.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. All right, enjoy your Victory Monday, kids. The next level is coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by